Okay, we got another really good case. And this is another time when obviously we were correct. Obviously. But if any of you don't know, during COVID, a lot of opinions specifically on the COVID vaccine, as well as on the Biden administration and conservatives in general, like gone. Like if you don't remember, Alex Jones, Donald Trump were purged off of Twitter. A bunch of conservatives were. Everyone else on the platform who was like liberal and shit was laughing and happy about that. And now they're trying to say that, hey, we did not purge people off of this, which is a complete and utter lie. But let's get into this. It's both Google and Meta are both now saying the same thing. Google admits censorship under Biden. Yep. Promises to end bans of YouTube accounts of thousands of Americans censored for political speech. Thousands. Yep. Yep. The Biden administration pressured Google to censor Americans and remove content that did not violate YouTube's policies. The Biden administration's censorship pressure was unacceptable and wrong. The public debate should never come at the expense of relying authorities. The company will never use a third-party fact-checker. Europe's censorship laws target American companies and threaten American speech, including the removal of lawful content. These major admissions came after the chairman Jordan subpoena to Google years-long investigation into the company. Yeah, this shit has been said for years, but this is finally the time they're actually admitting it. Absolutely atrocious. Let me show you this. Yeah, here's more. Yep. No matter the political atmosphere, YouTube will continue to enable free expression in its platform, particularly as it relates to subjects to political debate. Political debate and discussions are the public's interest, which is why YouTube expanded its approach to education, documentary, specific, and artistic content on the platform. In contrast to other large platforms, YouTube has not operated a fact-checking program that identifies and compensates fact-checking partners to produce content to support moderation. YouTube has not and will not empower fact checkers to take actions or label content across the company's services. YouTube has begun offering the feature on YouTube the beginning of June 2024, which allows users to add notes to provide relatively timely and understandably context to videos. The pilot is available in the mobile US and English. YouTube continues to collect feedback on its feature. YouTube also features an extensive comment section where viewers can comment and share their views on content posted by creators. The company terminated channels for repeatedly violating community guidelines on elections integrity content to 2023. Yeah. Oh, just so you know, when all this election stuff happened, if none of you guys remember Bush v. Gore, Florida was recounted 3 times because politicians have actually a right to question elections. They actually are allowed to do that, and it's actually something that the politicians are allowed to do. So it should be inspected. But yeah, anyways, COVID-19 and COVID-19 content through 2024. Today, the YouTube community guidelines allow a wider range of content regarding COVID-19 election integrity, reflecting the company's commitment to free expression. YouTube will open an opportunity for all creators to rejoin the platform if the company terminated their channels for repeated violations of COVID-19 and election integrity politics that are no longer in effect. Wow, how great. It only took fucking years. Yeah, thanks, YouTube. Yeah, thanks. This is a case of at least they're doing it. YouTube values conservative voices on its platform and recognizes that these creators have an extensive reach and play an important role in civic discourse. The company recognizes these creators are among those shaping today's online consumption and landing must-watch interviews, giving viewers a chance to hear directly from the politicians, celebrities, businesses, leaders, and more. Yeah. And the whole point is, think about this. What happened when Elon Musk bought Twitter and the conservatives were allowed back? People on the left to Blue Sky and Reddit because they couldn't handle civil discourse. What happened when conservatives joined YouTube again? people on the left continue to keep people in those echo chambers and lie to them. What happens to Hassan Piker? He literally told Dean Withers, "Hey, you need to become more left and stop debating people." Yeah, wow. How great, Hassan Piker. The guy who doesn't fucking debate for shit, asking people not to do that, and just become more far left. Yeah, great. But anyways, there's a lot of stuff that's been happening like this, and it's just... I'm just glad it's finally being exposed now, because the Biden administration was censoring everything. Let me show you this again.
Administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse, and it's like these documents it's all kind of out there.
Oh, did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails. the emails are published. It's all kind of out there, and they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme.
Yep.
And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal.
Exactly.
It was brutal.
Wow.
And people say this administration's like fascist. Fascism is taking away people's right to speak and silencing them forcibly. That's what the Biden administration did. The Biden administration was the closest we've ever got to an authoritarian government in my freaking lifetime. You weren't allowed to leave your house. You weren't allowed to question COVID. You weren't allowed to not wear masks. You weren't allowed to basically question anything the government was doing. You were forced to take a vaccine, which was, I'm gonna say it was an opt-in vaccine. Then Biden forced it on the government officials. Then afterward, every other company also forced you to take take the vaccine as well. Then 2 years later, after all that bullshit, companies stopped mandating the COVID vaccine. Hell, they even kept lying about COVID deaths. There were certain cases where every COVID death they were talking about had 4 or 5 different other diseases, including COVID. And they lied about that shit, saying this was a COVID death. And they monetized it. They monetized that stuff too. It was absolutely disgusting by the Biden administration.
At the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play this. But when it went from 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, and like in the beginning it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks aren't that important, to then it's like, oh no, you have to wear a mask. And like everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say, during the Biden administration, when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And now, I'm generally like pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who is basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said,
if you don't remember too, when Joe Rogan took something different than the vaccine, CNN put a filter over his face to show that he looked like a zombie and lied about it to the fucking American people. And CNN thought they were more capable of taking down Joe Rogan, more influential than him. The guy who simultaneously always gets more views than CNN every single podcast. I'll show you that stuff too. That was nasty by CNN.
Anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration.
Yep. Real fascism, taking away people's voices, not allowing them to talk. True fascism.
Think out of all kinds of meds, monoclonal.
So here it is. This was official CNN broadcasting. You're supposed to be a reliable news station, and this is the bullshit they pulled on Joe Rogan.
And turns out I got COVID. So we immediately threw the kitchen sink at it. All kinds of meds, monoclonal antibodies, ivermectin, Z-Pak, prednisone.
Yeah. Yeah, but look, man, they tried to make it look like he was a literal zombie. They've been doing this shit for years.
CNN blatant lies that CNN was telling about it. When you had CNN and MSNBC and all these different cable news network shows calling it horse dewormer, when it was a drug that won the Nobel Prize for the inventor of it, is a drug that has had billions, literally billions of prescriptions filled. It's a drug that saved lives, a drug that's on the World Health Organization's list of essential medicines. And for them to have the gall and to have the sheer audacity to just out and out lie to people about what a medication is. And it's used on humans far more than it's used on horses. And that they were calling that horse dewormer to try to mock me because they knew that I was unvaccinated and I kicked COVID very quickly.
Yeah, that's the thing. If you don't follow in line with what they tell you, they're going to demonize you. And they did this bullshit to Joe Rogan. They tried to get his show censored and deplatformed. And what happened? Joe Rogan kicked CNN's ass. Joe Rogan destroyed CNN. And he rightfully so deserved it. And all these bullshitters on CNN, they've been doing stuff like this so long. Every single chance they get. And you look, it's always the same perpetrator. CNN, MSNBC, whatever. And they continue to hide news, lie to you, and lie about certain cases. All because of this bullshit. I will never forgive CNN. I will never forgive MSNBC. They are actively detrimental to the American society.
And they did not want that narrative out there. And they were beholden to their handlers. They were beholden to the people that give them exorbitant amounts of money in advertising revenue. And they fucking followed in line and they all piled on and they lost a fuckload of credibility from it. I mean, if you look at the way people who saw that, how many people saw that and would go, oh my God, they're just lying.
Yeah.
They're just lying. Like, there's no excuse for that. You can't imagine a scenario where they really thought I was taking horse medication. You can't imagine a scenario where they thought that I couldn't get real people medication. You can't imagine it. I'm not poor. I'm not...
Exactly. He's a millionaire. He's a fighter. Like, people know his name.
Without resources. I'm not confused. I'm not without the recommendations of actual physicians. Like, none of that makes any sense. The idea that they could go on television and say, oh, this conspiracy theorist is taking horse dewormer. And that was the narrative, not, hey, how'd that guy get better so quick?
Yeah.
How is it 3 days after he got COVID, we shut the whole country down for this thing, and he looks fine? And then they changed my filter and turned me yellow on television. Like they took the original video of me and ran it through a filter to make me look horrible. It's really, they did some wild shit. But that wild shit that they did cost them their credibility. Blatant.
Yeah. Not only that, but after that bullshit, then they wanted, let me tell you what happened with Kamala Harris and why, like, he never did one with her. Here it is.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
You guys are coming here. I'm like, I love these guys so much. Too bad. It's just there's nothing going on.
Well, I heard you might have needed to cancel on us to get Kamala Harris on.
I was not going to do that. I would have had to. I knew you guys flew from England, and I wasn't going to cancel on you because she had an opportunity to come in.
You could look at this and you could say, oh, you're being a diva. But she had an opportunity to come here when she was in Texas, and I literally gave them an open invitation. I said, anytime. I said, if she's done at 10 o'clock, we'll come back here at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
I go, I'll do it at 9 in the morning. I'll do it at 10 p.m. I'll do it at midnight. She's up. She wants to, drink a Red Bull.
And remember, Kamala Harris is such a nothing candidate. Doesn't know how to talk. Doesn't know how to say anything useful. Is a completely wasted candidate. And so many people voted for an idiot who knew nothing that she was doing. To give you an example, at least Hillary Clinton could talk. At least Hillary Clinton could do the bare minimum expected of a politician. Kamala Harris couldn't even do something as simple as talking.
Fucking party on.
Yeah, but I think this idea that you're being a diva is silly because you're offering her the opportunity to do exactly what the other candidate did, right?
Well, she actually reached out when she found out that he was coming on. So their camp reached out to me. So I said, great, I would love to talk to her. But it was very difficult to tie it down, and they wanted to travel. And see, the thing is, like, you can't, if I go somewhere, then there's going to be other people in the room. And they want to control a lot of things, I'm sure, according to the Brett Breyer interview on Fox. Like, people were waving them off. That's a distraction. People in the room, like, my whole goal with her and with him is just talk. Just have a conversation like a human being. You find out things about people. You get a sense of them, at least, a real sense. That was it. I don't give a fuck what we talk about. I really don't. I just want to talk to you. Who the fuck are you?
Do you think they think that you're on his side and they're more wary of you?
I don't know. I mean, there's just because of my appearance, there's always been this assumption that I'm some right-wing MAGA guy. I was a Bernie supporter.
Exactly.
I am not. I'm a politically homeless person for sure. I always considered myself a left-wing person. I never thought I would ever vote right-wing. But then the tides of culture shifted in a very bizarre way. And it just made me, over time, much more aware of what this stuff is really all about. Because what this stuff is really all about is just these natural human behavior patterns and these tribal instincts that we have. And it overpowers all discussions. It overpowers what's good for the collective group. It overpowers everything. It's just people pick a fucking team, and then whatever that team says, they can do no harm. They will do their best to
active retardation, too. Not only that, but they're picking the team that's actively gaslighting them since the beginning of the Obama administration, man. Every single chance they get to gaslight you, they do. They tell you not to debate, not to coerce with people on the other side, because then you'll realize, hey, your side is batshit insane, and it's getting more batshit insane.
Marginalize the horrible effects of the furthest extreme version of that, whether it's Antifa or the Proud Boys. They'll minimalize the... It's the same thing, man. It's the same thing. If you look at what's going on with the liberals right now, so progressives they want the war in Ukraine to be funded. They want to censor speech online. And they want to give the World Health Organization, which is deeply influenced.
But if you look at that, they want to censor speech online and they want to start a fucking war. Guess what? Marxist. These are fascists. These are true fascists. Fascists are the ones that silence your voice because they don't like what you're saying.
By Big Pharma, including the FDA, deeply influenced. The revolving door between the FDA and pharmaceutical drug companies is legendary. And they want to give them control over what we take and what we don't take. And that's crazy. And that doesn't make sense because that's not what the liberals were when I was a kid. My parents were hippies. We lived in San Francisco during the Vietnam War. My parents were like straight up hippies. That's how I was raised. And so for me, it was always like the liberals were the ones who wanted education and open-mindedness. The liberals who were the ones with the ACLU let the Nazis talk and let them have a rally. They said you can't infringe on people's free speech because if you infringe on the speech of people that you disagree with, you're being a fucking hypocrite. You got to. The only solution to bad speech is better speech. We've always known that. But when they had the power over social media and these collective groups of people that all had the same ideology, and then that tribal mentality kicks in, and you lose the perspective that you should have as an educated person that recognizes that everyone has to be able to talk, and we have to figure out who's right. And you might be wrong. You might be wrong, and you might be clinging to this idea that you're right, and you're going to do the whole thing a terrible disservice.
Yep. Joe Rogan was 100% right. He was 100% cooking. Let me see if I can find this. Anyways, here we go. If you look over here, what do you see? Yeah, 10% of Democrats think it's a Democrat. 33% of them think it's a Republican. There's absolutely zero evidence that proves that. And they're so politically in their asses to the point that they never will. They are in such a deep, disgusting ass, like, literally, they just don't understand. They don't understand. And what happened? A guy shot up ABC. Jimmy Kimmel's show came back, and that guy got released for $200,000 bail in California. Then there was another guy who shot up a conservative wedding. All this stuff happening right after. And one conservative was literally burned a few days ago too. And then this is what they are. Oh, we're the party of truth. We're the party of... Then why is CNN, MSNBC, and all these places actively lying every single day to the American people? Radicalized. Look, independents. Look at 62 or 32. Republicans 68. You see, these people are the ones that are not gaslighted. They know what's up. And Democrats deserve to lose every single ounce of credibility they have. Everything needs to be exposed. Everything. Obama was a shit president. Biden was a shittier president. That stuff needs to be exposed. And I'm tired of these people making excuses because they fit the right agenda or the right skin color. It's not about your skin color. It's about the content of your character, not the color of your skin. And guess what? The content of Obama's character was shit. But yeah, that's pretty much all for now.